Okay, before we get into this decimal problem, I just want to give you a quick overview of where the decimal points are located on your Cranmer Abacus. So our decimal points are the unit marks, and they are located between what is typically the hundreds period and the thousands period, and between what is typically the thousands period and the millions period, and what is typically between the millions period and the billions period. However, when we add in our decimal point, and let's say we put in our decimal point between what is typically the hundreds and the thousands period, then it changes the periods. So that's what I've done here. Those unit marks, those decimal points may change depending on how many numbers you have to the right of your decimal point. So here we're talking about having 3 numbers to the right of the decimal point, which would make it, the unit mark would be the one that is typically between the hundreds period and thousands period. And we have the tenths, hundreds, and thousands to the right of that unit mark. Like I said, that will change if you have more than 3. You're going to want to use a different unit mark as your decimal point. Okay, now let's get into the problem. Hi everyone, I'm shooting this video from my new iPhone 12, and so I hope that the quality is good and even better than it was before. Okay, so we're going to be doing an addition with the counting method, and this time we're going to be using decimals. And for this problem, we're going to just have 2 decimals to the right of two decimal places to the right of the decimal point. And so it's going to be a money problem, and so this is one of the kind of problems that your student will frequently encounter when doing decimals. So you already saw how the unit marks stand for our decimal points. And so in this instance, because we only have 2 decimal points to the right, we only have two integers to the right of the decimal point. So we are going to just be working with this first unit mark in between the hundreds and the thousands periods. Okay, although we will see now that what was once the thousands period is now going to be considered the hundreds period, as what was once the hundreds period is now going to be where our decimals are going to be set. So I'm going to start by setting my first number, was this 13.25 or $13.25. So I'm going to feel for my first unit mark, and then I'm going to go to the left of that unit mark and begin setting in this, what is now the hundreds period. So we're going to set 1 for the tens, and then 1, 2, 3. Now I've set 13. I have to feel for my unit mark and then know I'm going to set the 25 cents here to the right of it. So in the tenths, I'm going to set 2, 1, 2 tenths. And then in the hundreds, I'm going to set 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now I'm going to be adding 26.88 or $26.88. So I'm working from left to right. I'm going to start here in the tens of the hundreds period. I'm going to add the 2. 1, 2. And then I'm going to go to the ones in the hundreds period, and I'm going to add the 6. 1, 2, I'm doing a 4-5 exchange, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to read my abacus before I move on, and it says 39.25. Okay, so now I'm going to add the last part of this problem, which is the 88 cents, 0.88. So I'm going to feel for my unit mark, and you can feel on the middle, the counting bar, or at the bottom of your abacus. So there's unit marks on both of those. And I'm going to add in 8 to my tenths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now I need to go to my ones so I can cross over that unit mark. I can cross from the decimal point into the whole integers. That's an okay thing to do. Unfortunately, here in my ones rod, I don't have any more beads left, so I have to go over to my tens, and I'm going to add a bead there. So where was I? Because all that explaining got me all off. I think I was on 8. Okay, and then I'm going to clear my ones and clear my tenths. All right, next thing I'm going to do is add the 8 in the hundredths. And so that's going to be the second rod from the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I have to go next door. 5. That's in, I'm adding 1 bead in my tenths rod and clearing all the beads in my hundredths rod at the same time. That was 5, 6, 7, 8. And I get my answer, my sum, which is $40.13, or 40.13. Okay, and that was an addition problem using the Cranmer Abacus and having a 2-digit decimal.